Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting into a really fascinating ancient story. It's all about Mahākaccāyana, a hugely respected figure, and this pretty unexpected moment of reverence from Sakka, the king of the gods, no less.
Yeah, it's a great one. And the material we're digging into, it comes straight from ancient Buddhist texts. They lay out this whole event in quite a bit of detail.
Exactly. And your mission today, listener, if you choose to accept it, is to sort of unpack what this whole encounter means. Like, why was Mahākaccāyana held in such high regard, so high that even the king of the gods is, well, bowing down, essentially? And the reason why, that's the really surprising bit, I think. It gives us some, properly thought-provoking stuff about what this tradition valued. It's kind of a curveball, isn't it, compared to how we usually think about respect?
Definitely. So, okay, let's paint the picture. The Buddha, he's at the Pubbārāma monastery. And it's not just any day. It's the great Pubbārāma ceremony. Big deal, end of the monastic retreat.
Right, a really important time.
Yeah. And he's got this huge group of his monastic disciples around him. Right there at the foot of Megaramata's mansion. You can sort of feel the atmosphere, can't you? All these monks together.
Totally. It makes it really vivid. So that's the main scene. But then you've got Mahākaccāyana. He's actually quite far away at this point, right? Residing over in the Avanti region.
That's right. And what's interesting straight away is, despite how far it is, he still makes the effort to get there for the teachings.
That says a lot already, doesn't it? Just his commitment.
It really does, his dedication. But then there's this other detail that tells you even more about his standing.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the senior monks there, when they were finding their places, they actually kept the seat open specifically for Mahākaccāyana.
Wow. Okay. So these are top monks themselves, and they're holding a spot for him. That really speaks volumes, doesn't it, about the kind of respect he had?
It absolutely highlights it. So into this scene, Mahākaccāyana is expected, but he's not there yet. And then Sakka arrives, the king of the gods. And he's not alone.
No, he turns up with this, celestial posse, right? Retinues from two different heavenly realms.
Yeah, quite theatrics.
And he pays his respects to the Buddha, the traditional way, divine perfumes, garlands, the whole thing. But you get the sense his mind is kind of elsewhere.
Exactly, because almost the first thing he does, seeing Mahākaccāyana's empty spot, is ask about him. Like, where is my lord? He actually says he's hoping he'll arrive.
So he's specifically looking for him. That's interesting. Like, he came partly for him.
It suggests a real connection, or at least immense respect. Makes you wonder. Anyway, Sakka's expressed this wish, and then what happens next is, well, pretty dramatic.
Yeah, almost like Sakka's wish made it happen. Mahākaccāyana just appears instantly.
The texts really play up the suddenness, like poof.
Yeah.
He's just there, seated in the spot they'd saved for him. It's got this almost, magical quality. Really underscores these figures aren't just ordinary people.
Totally. And Sakka's reaction when he sees him, it's astonishing. He doesn't just say hello. He goes right over and firmly grabs Mahākaccāyana's ankles.
Which is, wow. In that culture, touching feet like that, that's a huge gesture of reverence.
Yeah.
Deep respect, even like submission. Not something you'd expect from a king, especially not the king of the gods.
Right. It's major. And he doesn't just grab his ankles. He says how happy he is he's arrived, how he'd been waiting for him. And then he starts massaging Mahākaccāyana's feet with both hands.
Yeah.
Just picture that. The king of all the gods massaging the feet of this human monk. The power dynamic reversal there is just incredible. It's the core surprising moment, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And after this, Sakka makes more offerings, pays more respects, and then stands off to the side, very respectfully. It's definitely not your typical Tuesday meeting between a god and a human.
No kidding. Such a surprising act. And obviously the other monks noticed. They weren't just going to ignore that.
Oh, definitely not. The texts say they started murmuring among themselves. Like, what's going on here? Why is Sakka giving Mahākaccāyana so much more honor than, say, other really senior disciples right there?
You can just imagine the whispers, can't you? Did you see that? Why him specifically?
Yeah, their reaction really highlights just how out of the ordinary this was. It wasn't normal. And of course, that sets things up perfectly for the Buddha to explain.
Right. So the Buddha, he hears all this murmuring, sees the confusion, and steps in. He says, let me get the quote right. Bhikkhus, those bhikkhus who have guarded the doors of their senses, like my son Mahākaccāyana, are dear to the gods.
And that's the key, isn't it? It's not about status or power or miracles even. The Buddha points directly to an inner quality, guarding the senses: sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, mind. That's what Sakka was responding to.
Guarding the doors of their senses.
Okay.
And then he gives a verse, a gatha, to elaborate.
Exactly. He recites this verse. Yasindriyani samatagatani asa yata saratira sudenta pahina manasa anasavapitasa pihayanti tadinoti.
Okay, that sounds beautiful, but let's break that down. What's it saying?
So it's talking about a bhikkhu, a monk, whose senses the indriyani are samathogatani, meaning calmed, stilled, brought to peace. And the image used is powerful. They're tamed like asa, like horses that are sudanta, perfectly trained by a skilled sarathina, a charioteer.
Ah, okay. That image of the charioteer and the perfectly trained horses, that really paints a picture of like complete self-mastery, doesn't it? Control over your impulses, where your attention goes.
Precisely. It's profound inner discipline. And the verse continues. This person, this bhikkhu, has also bahina manasa. They've abandoned mana, which is conceit, ego. There are 9 types, apparently, and they're anasavasa, free from the asavas.
Yeah, savas, what are those exactly?
They're often translated as defilements, outflows, or corruptions. Think of them as these really deep-seated negative tendencies or biases that, contaminate the mind. Sensual desire, desire for existence, wrong views, ignorance, those kinds of fundamental taints.
Okay, so it's not just about surface-level control, like don't look at shiny things. It's way deeper. Getting rid of ego, these fundamental mental blocks.
Exactly. It's about deep inner purification. And then there's that word tadinoti at the end. The tadi part means such a one. Someone who is just like that, established in those qualities. It's their nature.
Right. So someone whose senses are totally under control, like trained horses, who's dropped the ego and is free from these deep defilements. They are tadi, such a one. And what's the payoff? Why does this impress Sakka?
Well, the last line says it all. Devapitasa pihayanti. Even the devas, the gods, including Sakka, in this context, pihayanti, they long for, they desire, they yearn to see and be near tasa, that person, that tadi, just like humans do.
Wow. So that quality of inner mastery and purity is universally attractive, so much so that it draws reverence even from the king of the gods.
That's the implication. It completely flips the script on what commands real respect. It's not outward show, it's inward cultivation.
Yeah, it really makes you think differently about status and admiration. It's not the crown, it's the consciousness, kind of.
You could put it that way. And this teaching, it wasn't just, an interesting philosophical point. The texts say that after the Buddha explained all this, many people listening right there actually attained stages of spiritual realization, starting with stream entry, which is a huge step.
So the explanation itself had a transformative effect. Okay, so let's try and boil this down. What's the absolute core message we should take from this incredible encounter?
Well, the really profound, maybe even shocking respect that Sakka showed Mahākaccāyana wasn't about anything external. The Buddha made it crystal clear. It was down to Mahākaccāyana's mastery over his senses, his freedom from ego, his inner purity. Those qualities, that's what makes someone, in the Buddha's words, dear to the gods.
And bringing that back to you, listening now, What's the relevance? Why should this ancient story matter today?
I think it powerfully highlights just how much value this tradition places on, self-awareness, self-mastery, that inner work. It suggests these aren't just nice-to-haves for personal well-being, but qualities so profound they command respect across different realms of existence, maybe. It forces you to reconsider what truly deserves admiration, moving the focus from the outside in.
It really does give you pause, doesn't it? So here's a final thought to maybe chew on as you go about your day. What could it actually mean for you to, guard the doors of your senses in a practical way? And what might follow from that? Maybe not, a foot massage from a celestial king.
Probably not.
But maybe other unexpected forms of recognition. Or perhaps just a deeper sense of inner peace, focus, or clarity. Could looking at this ancient story give you a different angle on what true respect and admiration really look like, both in the world and maybe within yourself? Definitely something worth thinking about. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.